Is a collective endeavor. No one hand can tie a person, neither will one hand clap. It takes the unity of all of us to solve the problem of our nation. If you are a citizen and you are a good one for that matter, please give information when, if, and as appropriate. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. IGP.
Thank you, CDS. While answering the question on the allegation of use of excessive force by the police and the military, I didn't address the case that was reported of a young man who was shot somewhere around Kubwa in Abuja. I saw the video and I ordered immediate investigation. I guess that is why the person who asked that question asked. I saw the trending video and I immediately ordered investigation into that. The eyewitness said that they saw a group of people, a team, dressed in black police uniform. And I said that would not be from us. Because throughout the protest, our dress order is the camo, which I'm wearing now. And not just the camo, it's the camo with the red band worn on the left arm. So if you see any other person that is dressed in the regular black police uniform, that cannot be police. That is not from the Nigerian police. I don't know where they came from. They may be armed robbers, they may be anything, but they are not police. That's what the findings of the investigation that I ordered revealed. I want to also use this opportunity to commend Nigerians part in this protest and who indeed spoke against it and agree with us that the protest is ill-timed, out of sheer patriotism and belief in the genuine effort of government to put the country on the path of economic recovery and growth. I also want to thank those who peacefully took part in the protest and withdrew from it when the protest turned violent. I also recognize the patriotism of those who heeded the call of Mr. President to embrace dialogue and immediately withdrew from the protest. I thank all Nigerians for the support that we have received while managing this protest. We still have pockets of demonstration by a few people in few states in the Northwest and the Northeast. As at this morning, the situation is calm, but we are not taking it for granted. Our officers are still on ground to ensure that we maintain the peace. I thank all Nigerians, and I want to assure you that the Nigerian police is here to serve you and to protect you. Thank you.
So we'll now take another set of questions, maybe 4. Okay, go ahead.
Good morning, sir. My name is Odita Sunday. I write for The Guardian. Sir, what broke out after a day or two of the protest could just be described as insurrection. What measures are you taking to prevent further escalation of this insurrection? Secondly, are there indications of coordination of funding support from foreign entities? And if so, how are you countering it? Lastly, What contingency plans are in place in case the situation deteriorates? Although we are seeing peace this morning, but in case it comes up again, what plans are in place? Then to our CNS, sir, what are those other means, like you said in your speech, you have instituted to bring the subversive elements to book? On a final note, as a citizen that loves his country, I want to commend the security forces, especially the military and the police, for their exemplary handling of the violence so far. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, you with the pickup?
Yeah. My name is Kingsley Omonobi, Vanguard Newspapers. This question goes to the CDS, the IGP, and if the CG of Immigration has a contribution, to be welcome. Sir, the issue of subversion comes again. I think the manner the security agencies have been going about arresting people, flying flags, and distributing flags still leaves some questions to be answered. What about the real sponsors? Those behind the security agencies have been telling us that they have intelligence before this, that mercenaries might infiltrate and stuff like that. Now we are arresting the foot soldiers, those distributing flags. The perpetrator, the sponsor for these subversive actions are not those people. They are, I believe, well-to-do people, maybe, or I don't know who they are. But the security agency should be able to go for these people and use them as example, not people distributing flags like, it will not end this insurrection like my colleague said. Thank you very much.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, sir. My name is Taka Devi. My question is, I write for Leadership Newspaper. My question is to the IGP. Sir, you said your men did not fire shots at people. On the day one of the protest, some of us went around and we saw men deployed to control this crowd with assault rifles. I want to know if it is part of your standard operating procedures to deploy men with assault rifles on such occasions.
Yes, sir. Give it to him.
Thank you very much. Yes, my name is Friday Oloko. I work with Arise News. Now, of course, we want to find out the fate of the people who were arrested, like the young man in Kano who was arrested for sewing Russian flag. Now, the law stipulates that anybody who is arrested should be produced in court within 24 hours, according to the Habeas Corpus Act. What is the fate of the young people who have been arrested? When will they face trial in court? Thank you.
So, sir, may I request for response? Okay. Okay, the lady.
Good afternoon, sirs. My name is Onje Ojochenemi. I write for Business Day newspapers. My question is for CNS. What are you doing, sir, to boost oil production in the nation? In specific terms, sir, what are you doing to boost oil production in the nation? Because oil production is, a great part of our economy, and would like to know what you're doing, sir. Thank you very much.
Any more questions?
Okay, I think that's for now. Let's go to IGP again, because most of the questions is you, so everybody's...
Thank you, CDS. First question on how do we prevent escalation of the situation? We have deployed adequately and we are responding appropriately to the situations as they unfold. Where we need to use tear gas smoke, we deploy tear gas smoke. Where we need to provide protection, we provide protection. Where we need to make arrest, we make arrest. That's the way we are managing the protest. And we don't see it escalating. Although we are aware that the sponsors of this protest, some of them have clear motive to subvert the government of the day. We are not going to allow that. We will defend our democracy. Then the question on how are we countering funding of the protest? We are doing a lot that I won't be able to immediately expose to you, how we are countering funding. We have blocked some accounts, and we are still monitoring them. Some of them are outside the country, and we are still going to get them. You asked, what do we do in case the situation deteriorates? I've answered that. We respond to all situations as they unfold. If it deteriorates, we will deploy more. More resources will be deployed if it deteriorates. And I've said earlier on, where necessary, when it gets out of hand and the police is overwhelmed, we will hand over to the military. And I'm not seeing that happening in this case. Then there was this question on, issue of subversion. We are arresting those carrying flags of foreign nations and leaving the sponsors. Yes, we have to arrest those carrying flags to be able to get to the sponsors. We know that those flags that those children were carrying were handed over to them by some people. If we don't arrest them, how do we know who handed over those flags to them? We have also arrested tailors who sewn some of those flags. That is how we get to the sponsors. It's not just enough to have intelligence that some people are sponsoring subversive activities. What we need is to get the evidence against them. There are two elements of an offense. For those who studied law, there is the intention to commit offense, and it's called the mens rea. And there is the slightest manifestation of that intention. That's the real act. It's called the actus reus in law. So mere intention is not enough to grant conviction in court. So both must happen. Both the mens rea and the actus reus must come together. So we won't stop at the level of mens rea. We will wait also for the actus reus for us to gain conviction in the court. Then there was this question on why are some of our men deployed to manage the protest are armed with assault rifles when we said that we didn't fire a shot. Let me tell you that in responding to protests, we deploy in units most of the time, And our unit consists of 3 sections. We have the batting section, we have the smoke section, and we have the rifle section. In this protest, we didn't deploy the rifle section. There was no need for it. We deployed only the smoke section. So we have used only tear gas smoke to degrade this protest. We didn't have to deploy rifle section. And when you see men armed with rifles, they are there in case there is need to deploy them. But where there is no need to deploy them, they will not be deployed. And in this case, we didn't deploy them. The fate of arrested persons in the protest. And the person who asked that question wanted us to make reference to the requirement of the law that says that arrested persons should appear in court within 24 hours. I want to tell you that the trial of those suspects have since begun. In Kano, for example, because we have large number of arrests in Kano, the magistrates moved to the police headquarters. And that is where trial is ongoing right now. If you go to the police headquarters in Kano now, you will find out that arrested persons are already being tried. So we are not keeping them indefinitely. Okay, I think that's all questions.
Okay, this is.
Okay. Okay, maybe the DSS will be addressing the issue of subversion and maybe the question on funding. Ordinarily, traditionally, there are 5 angles to look at crimes or threats against national security. Terrorism, insurgency, sabotage, espionage, and subversion. And but beyond the 5, the inclusive and disruptive nature of the internet has expanded the landscape of global threats today, that even conflicts that used to be inter are now intra, like what we are having now. We are not being faced with war by any country, but internal uprising and all of that. So you cannot rule out the intent of those who are sponsoring this kind of persons. After all, what is subversion? Willful intent, willful act designed to undermine an authority. And how do you do that? People begin to show unreasonable disdain for constituted authority. People begin to disrespect symbols of the state. People begin to call for change directly, for change of regime. And we have seen all the parameters are obvious. So nobody should be asking whether or not this is pre-existing subversion or whether it is with us. It's with us. And what should security organizations do? Before now, was there an intelligence? Yes. Now, is there an intelligence? Yes. Were actions taken? Democracy is not the same thing as dictatorship. In democracy, you follow procedures, you follow rules. You are talking about arresting somebody and also prosecuting the person. You are calling me to account about someone you presumed we arrested. These are issues in democracy. You are not allowed as a security organization to take laws into your hands. And that is why we are even doing this. That is why we are accountable. That is why the military is also declaring their subordination to constituted authority, because that is the pillar of democracy. So now people have started manifesting attitudes that are inimical to security and to the welfare and orderliness of the society. So we won't cross our hands. We have arrested sponsors of those who did the flag. It's not just that children are throwing flags or flying flags. No, there is more to that. There are some aspects of our operations that we may not sit before the camera and begin to reel out, either because of their sensitivity, either because we are not supposed to say them now, or because there are ongoing investigations, and we may not say things that will jeopardize those investigations. But I can assure you, be patient with us. You will hear from us sooner than later. We are not sleeping over the issues. We will take it to the end, and you'll be surprised if at all we will declare the information to the public. You'll be surprised at what we know and what we have seen. So the fundings are there. But let me even shock you that people are leaving the banking space to virtual currency. And people are using crowdfunding to raise money. People are using things other than the currency that you know of, channels of transaction, to do bitcoins, to do virtual currency, to do all manner of things to raise financing. You know, but we are tracking all of that. The NIFIU is doing so much. Our Directorate for Proceeds of Crimes and Recovery Management is doing so much. Our Economic Intelligence Directorate, all our operations, and in fact, all our structures are geared towards extracting intelligence that will disrupt the networks of either the espionage agents or the subversive agents. But definitely, the small children you are seeing are the pawns on the chessboard. The real persons behind them, we are on track of such persons. Some of them are already in our net, but we may not discuss or disclose aspects of the operations now, but definitely we will. Thank you.
Okay, the CNS.
Okay, thank you very much. I think just two questions that I need to address. The first one, which talks about what we are doing to bring those subversive elements to book, has been adequately addressed by the IGP and the DSS. So I won't respond to that again. But on the other question that talks about what the Nigerian Navy is doing to boost oil production, I'd like to inform you that as part of our role in terms of provision of aid to civil authority and provision of aid to civil power is our enforcement duties, enforcing maritime laws within Nigeria's maritime domain. And we see this role as key, particularly in this period where oil production is critical to our economic survival. In fact, we see protection of Nigeria's national oil assets as a very critical area that we must focus our attention. And therefore, we've redefined our operation and our strategies to encompass what we call a trinity of action concept. This involves surveillance, response capability, and then law enforcement. These three concepts, these three trident aspects put together takes us to where we are, which is the results that we are beginning to see and we are also improving upon. For instance, we've increased our surveillance capability by using our maritime domain awareness capability, which is technology-based systems that enables us to have 24-hour visibility of what is happening outward at sea. Although these systems have some limitations, particularly the fact that it cannot effectively cover the backwaters. And when I say the backwaters, I mean the creeks and the riverine areas that are covered by trees and the others. We are making effort to use other forms of surveillance. And that's why we have rejigged that maritime domain awareness capability to incorporate the use of drones, the use of our air assets, our helicopters, to conduct surveillance, and above all, the use of the people, because human intelligence is key. is even the most important, much more important than technology. And in this respect, we are particularly working with the communities, working with other stakeholders, working with the oil industry, working with all the operators in the field to give us adequate information when these breaches occur. Of course, you know that we are also not acting alone, because the maritime domain is an area where no particular agency can do it alone. In fact, the government agency cannot even do it alone. So we are working together with the Army, the Air Force, the police, the customs, and all other security agencies in this regard, particularly even the civil defense. And we are all geared towards making sure that we check these criminals who are causing these problems in the creeks, particularly in terms of vandalization of oil pipelines. And I can tell you that if you have local information from within the Niger Delta, for instance, in Port Harcourt, you know that the situation has changed tremendously. The reports we get from the field shows that it is very, very difficult now for some of the people who use these products to get them in the market. At one time, most of the products, AGO in the market, were already illegally refined petroleum products. But now, it's very difficult to get that. And I see some people shaking their head because, you know, it's true. If you go to the fields, you go to Port Harcourt to Warri and look for, maybe you want a cheap AGO, you find it difficult to get. These are the results of some of these our operations, working together under the auspices of the Joint Task Force Operation Delta Safe, and also our own operations, which we call the Operation Delta Sanity. We have rejigged that operation, particularly in the area of maritime domain awareness. Then, in the area of response capability, over the years, which is part of our strategic plan, we have put fleet renewal as key to our ability to be able to checkmate these critical areas. And our acquisitions now are not geared mostly towards big ships like frigates, but to offshore patrol vessels and fast attack crafts and boats, which will enable us to be able to penetrate these areas and turn the tide against these criminals. Every day, our ships are at sea, our boats are at sea. As I'm speaking to you now, over 12 Nigerian Navy ships are at sea, patrolling the maritime domain. And we are making having tremendous results in terms of arrests. Within the last 6 months, over 60 vessels have been arrested. Some of them are in various stages of investigation and prosecution. Within the last period, there is no day that we do not deactivate several illegal refining sites. But the bad thing about this is that these criminals, the facilities they use in establishing these illegal refining sites are so cheap that once we destroy them, tomorrow they come back to set it up again. But our men are in the field. In the course of our duties, so many of our men have paid the supreme sacrifice. Either they get consumed by fire during the process of the deactivation of these illegal refineries, but it's a task which we see as something we cannot just look the other way. So we are determined that we must do all that we have to do to achieve what the result. And we are doing that. Then in terms of law enforcement, of course, those of us who are in the field, you know that in 2017 we had this harmonized terms and conditions, a harmonized standard operating procedure for arrest, detention, and prosecution of offenses within the maritime environment. And that's why I say that the issue of collaboration, because the Nigerian Navy and the armed forces as a whole cannot prosecute these offenders. And that's why we have a common framework whereby when we make this arrest, whether it's the Navy that makes the arrest, or the Army, or the police, or the civil defense, then we make our preliminary investigations and forward to the appropriate prosecution agencies to ensure that at the end of the day, faces are brought into these offenses and they are convicted to serve as deterrents to others. We are achieving results, and like I said, it is far much better than where we started, and we hope to redouble our efforts to make it better. And I promise you that with this collaboration among all of us, our trident strategy of law enforcement, response capability, and surveillance, improving our surveillance, definitely will get better results. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. I think we're almost through. Let me give civil defense any last comment, 2 minutes, and then immigration, and then we'll round up.
Well, just as the CNS said, we are working very closely with Nigerian Navy, actually in the creek, and we have made several very unprecedented arrests on the number of vandals, bunkerers, whether it is from tanker, from barges, from vessel, and the rest. And most of the cases actually are subjudice, but because we have the powers of prosecution, we have secured a lot of convictions, on the vandalization issue. And I think that with the present charge that the president gave the security agencies, that has been championed by CDS, on the issue of increasing the capacity of oil production, I think all hands are on deck to make sure that we improve the capacity. And so by going forward, there is a very robust operational framework that has been designed by CDS, and all of us have keyed in. And I think definitely we are going to see better results going forward. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Immigration.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Just to buttress what the IGP said and the DSS said regarding the sponsors, the question the gentleman asked, I just want to let you know that some of these sponsors, some of these people who are actually in diaspora, we have a number of them who are actually instigating this mayhem that we're seeing right now. What we've done is we've had them on our watch list, and they've been watch listed. We have them on our radars, and we're making sure that any attempt they make to come into the country, we'll notify the necessary authority. And we're working closely, of course, with the NIA and DSS, of course, and the NSA's office, so that all those we have in diaspora that are actually trying to subvert the authority of this nation, they are in our radars. We have them watch listed. And any attempt they make to come into the country will be notified, and we'll also know what to do. We'll notify the necessary authority. So in essence, we're also making sure that everyone who is not supposed to come into the country, any person who is of interest in terms of these activities going on right now, we will make sure that as they come in, they are handed over to the necessary authority. Thank you.
Right, thank you. IGP, any last one?
What I have is an appeal to Nigerians to be patient with this government. Yes, there is hardship everywhere. And this hardship is not only limited to Nigeria. There is hardship all over the world. It's a global problem. But is our government doing anything about it? Yes. Our government is doing a lot to ameliorate the suffering of Nigerians. We need to be patient with this government. We read in history book the story of China. There was a Chairman Mao in China, the father of China, who said, "Let all Chinese go naked until we're able to produce our own clothes. Let us all go hungry until we're able to produce our own food." And what do we have in China today? Prosperity. China is one of the super world now. There was a time that it was hard for them. They went through hardship before they became great. Let us also agree that this is the hard time that we have to go through for prosperity to come to our country. The government is doing a lot to put the country on the path of economic recovery and growth. If we are patient with this government, very soon we will see the dividend. That's what I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Joe Esther.
The Chief of Defense Staff, sir, the protocols duly observed. I just want to add one or 2 points regarding the question that was asked about what was being done specifically by the Nigerian Navy to ensure that our crude oil production was on the increase. I want to re-emphasize, as mentioned by the Chief of Naval Staff, that it's really a joint effort through the Joint Task Force South-South Operation Delta Sea, which is managed by the Defense Headquarters. The Nigerian Air Force has an air component in that operation. And if you have been following the activities of that Joint Task Force in the South-South, the Nigerian Air Force, as part of also fleet renewal, took inventory of 2 T-129 attack helicopters about 3 months ago. And as part of our own effort to ensure that the crude oil production is really ramped up, which has a lot of impact as a mainstay of the Nigerian economy, we deployed these 2 helicopters to that operation. And within that period, those helicopters are special mission helicopters, which are very suited for the kinds of operations that we do against pipeline vandalism and illegal oil refining, oil theft. And within that period of 3 months, these 2 helicopters, we have taken out over 80 illegal refining sites within that period. We have also destroyed over 75 reservoirs where illegally refined, petroleum products are stored. So if you look from where we are coming around February, March, when crude oil production in the country was about as low as 1.2, 1.3 million barrels per day, today we have 1.6, 1.7 million barrels per day. So a lot has been done, a lot is being done through this joint task force. And the target eventually is to achieve our opaque quota, which is 2.2 million barrels per day and even above. So I just felt I should put more clarity in terms of the efforts that the Nigerian Air Force is also putting into that direction. And finally, I want to also appeal to all Nigerians to continue to be law-abiding, continue to be peaceful. We have seen the effect of what has happened in the past few days, and it is very clear that that is not the way to go. Let us give dialogue a chance, let us be patient, and let us give chance for the policies and programs of the current administration to take place, to unfold, and we'll see that in very short while, a lot of the grievances and the complaints and the challenges that we are complaining about today will be addressed. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Chief of Army Staff.
The Chief of Defense Staff, sir. In closing, I would like to address two concerns raised by those who asked questions. First is on the likelihood that we have shifted our attention from our main operational commitment to deploying resources to combat these protests that have turned riot. And I want to assure you members of the media, Nigerians, that the Nigerian army is the people's army. As the Chief of Army Staff, my eyes are on the dashboard. So I'm more concerned about bringing our country to a state of sustainable peace and security. And in doing that, I want to state that attention have not been diverted from our main operational commitment. I checked the number of patrols that troops conduct, the number of ambushes that are undertaken on a daily basis, the number of violent insurgents that have been eliminated, decapacitated, and other indices. And it has not dropped by whatever measure. Also, we have continued to expand the frontier of peace and security in Borno State. People, IDPs, are being returned back to Kukawa, Bita, and some other places as I speak to you. Those are indices of return to peace and stability. So the troops are not relenting in their operational commitment in the field. On our contingency plan, in the event that the situation degenerates, I've said it, that since 0600 hours today, we have experienced peace, palpable state of security, and so we are reassured that we'll continue along this trajectory. And we'll walk in line with our training, in line with our doctrine. And I want to also assure you that our estimates looking into the future suggest that the situation will not degenerate, but we need the cooperation of every stakeholder in Nigeria to achieve that. And what we have witnessed is that in some parts of the country, these protests have been peaceful. The protesters have conducted themselves in orderly manner. So in places where we have experienced breakdown of law and order, it has been arrested. So we have returned back to peace. And if, peradventure, there is a flash, those will be arrested as well. So we do not foresee this situation degenerating. And I want to thank the members of the press for your cooperation so far, for the feedbacks that we have received from you. They've helped us to up our ante for our troops to remain professional and to perform better in the field. And working together, we believe that we can defend our constitutional order, we can defend our democracy, we can maintain peace, sustainable peace, and harmony in our country. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. This brings us to the end of today's meeting. Let me start by appreciating Nigeria. I want to appreciate Nigerians for their understanding, for their commitment to upholding the law and order. We had issues the past few days, but you can see that people have seen reason for us not to continue with the destruction, to stop the looting, to stop giving opportunities for others to subvert our nation, to destroy our nation, but to join hands together with the security forces to make Nigeria better. We want to assure them, we on this side, that we are fully committed. We love Nigeria, we love the country. We are mindful of the fact that we are being paid, we are being equipped by monies generated from the country, and so we are duty bound to protect the country. We are only after those that are against the state, not those that are innocent. So I want to make that very clear. We will continue to work together as a team to support Mr. President in achieving his mandate of peace and tranquility in our dear country, Nigeria. We want to thank members of the media for the support given to us, and that to remind them that we are partners in progress. If there are issues on ground, please reach out to us and clarify, rather than just run and make your reports. We are always operating on an open door policy in all we do. We are very transparent, we are very professional, and will continue to do that. I want to thank you for your commitment in all, and to call for the collaboration of all other agencies to ensure that we achieve our success. I want to caution against violence again, call for calm. Mediation, discussion, dialogue are things that we project, and those are the things we'll do. And the overall is to have national unity and cohesion as one great country, Nigeria. We want to thank our troops out there in the field, toiling day and night. Despite the risk to their lives, separation from their families, they've continued to forge forward. We commend them for their job and to ensure that we're together with them, and that the president is looking after them and has promised that he will do a lot of things considering their welfare. Once again, on the final note, I want to thank everybody that is here today for this opportunity. We are showing that we are people-centric in all we do. The people matter to us more than any other thing. Thank you, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Distinguished senior officers, gentlemen, I want to use this opportunity to thank...
Okay, we're currently live from Abuja as we just witnessed to a press briefing held by all heads of security, which included the Army, Police, Customs, Immigration, DSS, NSCDC, Air Force, and Navy, where the major message was an appeal to Nigerians to give peace a chance. Some of the highlights were, of course, the fact that they noted that the protests had been hijacked by criminal elements. And, of course, there was the observation of Russian flags, which were said to have been imported, and all those who were arrested for having carried them and having played a part in tailoring these flags will face treason charges. Immigration has said that all borders have been manned and that those who are suspected of sponsoring and being architects of the subversion of the authority of the nation have been placed on watch lists, and notification will be given to the relevant authorities if they do attempt to step into Nigerian borders, as they are said to be in the diaspora. The media was also issued a warning against sharing an inflammatory narrative and was encouraged to tell stories that unite. With regards to arrests made in Kano specifically, it was stated that those who are arrested are already seeing their day in court as per the 24-hour time limit stated by the Constitution. The IGP also stated categorically that the police did not fire any bullets. The police did not shoot, according to the IGP. All right, well, that's live from Abuja. That was a press briefing on national security. We'll take a very short breather. Newsday continues after this break.